Let's welcome our speaker, our resource person this afternoon, Advanced Communicator Gold, Advanced Leader Bronze, Neb Perez.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amisha. Good afternoon. All right. I guess it's time to begin my workshop. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just share my slide. All right. I hope it's visible now. I'll be honest with all of you. I have never been as nervous as I am right now for a very long time. So I hope I get to meet your expectations. A few things. My house rules when I hold any speaking workshop is if you have a question, just shout it out at any given time. You don't need to wait at the end of the workshop. I'm also monitoring our chat room. So anytime you have a question, you can type it there if you want. I'll just answer it as quickly as possible when I see it. And so let's have this as a relaxed workshop. And as you can see my title, What It Takes to Win Prepared Speech Contests. I know this is part of the 3-part series of District 75, and I hope I can meet your expectations and provide you with valuable educational lessons for this afternoon. All right, so let us immediately begin our workshop. What it takes to win prepared speech contests. There's a reason why I didn't separate the humorous international and international speech. When we thought this up around May to June, I thought I was going to talk about international speech contests, and that was going to be easy. But now I have to talk about humorous speech contests, and my biggest problem is I'm not really that funny and have not really competed in humorous contests. However, I believe that some of the tips that I may give here, as a perspective of a judge and fellow contestant, as a contestant, can add to value for you if you are going to compete in the international and humorous speech contests. I hope there are a lot of you who are interested to join the humorous speech contest, international speech contest this year. This will be purely online, and the challenges and learnings that you will get will be much different from other formats of speech contests. So let's begin. So what is the content of my workshop for this afternoon? I actually just placed it into 3 major categories. What is the international speech and what is the humorous speech? How you are judged as a contestant, and some tips that you can use for a prepared speech contest. So who among you here are interested? I think you can show your hands. I have not seen that capability. Who among you here are interested to compete in the humorous speech contest? Humorous speech contest. I really like to see how to do this. Okay, so there are a few who are interested to join the humorous speech contest. How about for the international speech contest? Who among you are interested, excited to join the international speech contest? Okay. Okay, so there are quite a few, and I'll try to be as humorous as possible with this. Please don't take me seriously on some of my jokes here. If it falls flat, I apologize. I apologize in advance because some of my jokes will definitely fall flat in a few minutes. So let's go. How is it different? First, the international speech contest, engineering jokes, all right. The international speech contest is considered by many as the most coveted of the 4 contests. There are actually 5 speech contests in Toastmasters, but we participate in 4. And the 4 are the table topics, the evaluation, the humorous, and the international speech contest. So it is regarded as the most coveted of the 4 competitions, and it's the only contest that goes beyond the district level. Some people might not know, but in some districts, they don't even have district level competitions for other speech contests. They only have district level competitions for the international speech. The humorous, the table topics, and evaluation sometimes just end at the division level. That's for other districts. For our district, we love contests. So we all have it at the district level competition. Next, the humorous speech contest, on the other hand, is the least prestigious of the four. And all humorous contestants will attest to this. Why? I'm quoting a champion from a couple of years ago. When an international speaker wins, international speech contest winner is invited to a club, members approach them and say, oh, teach me how to become more inspiring, a better speaker. But when you win the humorous speech contest, when you join a club meeting, they will clap and say, oh, make us laugh, make us laugh, make us laugh. And that's not, as again, it said, it's the least prestigious of the four, but with quotation marks. It's actually a good lot of fun. Now, something that I would add, and I will repeat this a few more times, there is no point on these speeches. In fact, I would advise greatly for contestants in the humorous speech contest to even have a point in their humorous speech. Okay, so those are basic descriptions of both competitions. How are they similar? Okay, how are the two speech similar? The only similarity, the only real similarity, although this is a really big similarity for the both of them, is they are both 5 to 7 minute prepared speeches. You have a lot of time to prepare for a speech, as compared to the table topics and for the evaluation, which has a completely different skill set than preparing for a prepared speech. And tips that I will teach you today and that I will share with you today is on how you can better prepare for a speech contest. And we combine the humorous and the international speech on this manner because they are both prepared speech contests. The difference would be very glaring. But we'll go back on this slide later. And this is actually a very important slide. You'll notice this later. There are 5 to 7 minutes for a prepared speech. The difference is this. The main difference of the international speech and the humorous speech is your topic selection. What do I mean? International speeches, the topics are generally of a universal nature. What are universal nature speeches? Love, perseverance. That's the top two, actually. Love, perseverance, friendship, never giving up. Topics that have universal appeal for everyone. Hard work is another. So those are the topics for the international speech contest. Another, international speeches usually take a serious tone. Serious tone doesn't mean it's not funny, but you have a specific objective for your audience and you are determined to deliver that message to the audience. So that's where the serious tone begins. International speeches are often regarded to be inspirational in nature. That's why when I first joined Toastmasters, a lot of people are telling me, join the inspirational speech, or how do I deliver a motivational or inspirational speech? It's because in the international speech contest, judges tend to select speeches that are inspirational in nature. Okay? And finally, it has a very strong element of storytelling. In fact, the element of storytelling in Toastmasters International has been attacked by several other organizations because why is it called the World Championship of Public Speaking when in fact contestants and winners are simply telling stories, okay? The reason for storytelling in the international speech contest is the limit of 5 to 7 minutes. If you have a lot of time, you can deliver different presentations. However, because this is a limited competition setting, storytelling is the best way and most efficient way to reach your audience. So it has a very strong element of storytelling. Now, I am emphasizing this because a lot of people join the international speech contests and are not really prepared to tell a story. Okay, and I'll give you a technique, a possible technique that you can use when you deliver your stories later on in your international speech. Now, how about humorous speech contests? topic selection of humorous speech contest is actually the polar opposite of international speech contests. How does it work? The topic can be anything. It can be universal, it can be personal, it can be something that is known for very few, to very few people. Okay? It can be anything under the sun. It might actually seem restrictive for the international speech contest to be universal in nature, to be something that has mass appeal. And yes, it's actually true. But for humorous speech contests, you can select any topic that you want. The other is, no point is needed for the speech. I'd like to emphasize on this part because have you ever attended a humorous speech contest where none of the speakers were funny? How would you feel? How was it? It's the longest 30 minutes of your life watching a humorous speech contest, and each one of them trying to become inspirational. If you can deliver a point in your humorous speech, then go ahead. But my recommendation actually is don't drive the point. No point is needed for your humorous speech. Your only objective for humorous speech is to make the audience laugh. I've seen a lot of speakers, humorous speech contestants, trying to put in a message in their speeches. And while the objective is noble, it usually distracts from the humor of their speeches. So if you can put a point, then go ahead. But don't force yourself to put in a point in your humorous speech. And the next, it must be a coherent speech. Why do I say this? It's actually not very common in Toastmasters, but it can happen. I was in YouTube this morning. I was looking for inspiration for a humorous speech. And one of the best resources of humorous speeches is going to YouTube and search for America's Got Talent or the X Factor. Look for the funniest speeches there. Now, they are really good inspiration. However, the problem with those style of speeches is that they are stand-up comedy routines. They have a lot of laughs, but it isn't a coherent speech with an opening, a body, and a closing. It's part of the rule in Toastmasters that it has to be a coherent speech. So basically, you're still telling a story, okay? And I put this in here. Preferably, your humorous speech should be funny. It's the most difficult experience for a judge and for an audience really to sit down 20 minutes listening to humorous speeches that aren't funny. It happens, not too often, but it does happen. Okay? It was a terrible experience. Yeah. I feel lost, a humorous that is not humorous at all. Yeah, sometimes it does happen. Okay. So, that is the basic difference between an international speech and a humorous speech contest. Massive storytelling for the international speech and just having fun for the humorous speech contest. Okay? Now, how are you judged? Let's look at this. What is the only difference, the only real difference among the judging criteria? And can you tell me which one is the humorous and which one is the international speech contest categories? Is my slide visible? Can you tell me what is the biggest difference between the two? The humorous speech and the international speech. These are the judging criteria. If you're a judge, you always see this. So what is the biggest difference? Okay. Audience response. It's actually the only difference among these two speeches, judging categories. The one on the right is for humorous speeches, and the one on the left is international speech. So there is an audience response from the humorous speech. And that is actually your target. You must have a response from the audience. Now, in live competitions, you can easily get responses from the audience. How do you do this in an online competition where you don't get a single response from any audience member? Okay, but if you look at it closely, it's almost exactly the same in scoring. They just needed to add audience response in the content. For international speech, content is 50%, delivery is 30%, and language is 20%. While in humorous, content is 55%, delivery is also 30%, and language is 15%. They are practically, by all intents and purposes, the same. And that is why I mentioned earlier at the start of this presentation that the humorous speech and the international speech, their similarity is they are a 5 to 7 minute prepared speech competition. But although this is a very small difference, audience response is actually the key to winning the international speech, the humorous speech contest. Okay, now I'm going to be very careful. There was a judges training this morning, and I know a lot of you have become judges, and a lot of you have participated in judging or want to know how judges select their winners. I'm going to be very careful with my next statement. Okay, and I'm making this qualified. The statement is, in judging, the higher the level, the less important the judging criteria. What do I mean by this? Let's go back to the judging criteria. At the club level, you will often see judges filling in the information. They judge the structure, the speech development from 0 to 20, effectiveness from 0 to 15, speech value from 0 to 15, physical, voice, manner, 10 points each, appropriateness and correctness, that's also 10 points each. So you would really see judges filling in their ballots. And a lot of times, there is a wide disparity on the scores. And you will see who the number 1 is, number 2 and number 3. That's the purpose of it. For the humorous speech contest, if the speakers are equally not funny, that's when the judges really go into speech development, effectiveness, speech value. And obviously, if they're not funny, the audience response is really low. Physical, voice, manner, appropriateness, correctness is all equal in that judging. Now, whoever wins the club level, you would assume that their physical, voice, and manner is already quite good. So they move up. Area level, they now compete. Okay? The best among the judging will probably perfect their delivery and their language. They move up to division. By the time they reach the division level, their scores on average would probably be at around 80 to 90. All of them, from club to area to division level. And then once they win the division level, they will now become almost equally good and reach the district level. So the higher the level, the less the importance of these criteria. And I'm telling you this to so that when you are preparing for your speech, yes, you look at this criteria. Content is king. You need to have proper delivery, physical, voice, manner. You need to have proper language. So appropriateness and correctness of your language, it's part of it. It's important because you need it as you go up. But the higher you go, the more level your playing field. And that is when the criteria won't matter that much. And that is also when the secret criteria for winning the international speech and the humorous speech comes in. If you are able to do this at the lower levels, it's almost automatic that you will become the winner at the lower levels. And what does it mean? For international, the question among the judges, and this is how judging is being done. Not objectively, no, it will always be objective. But the scoring is always inclined by these two questions. First, which one made me feel more? And the second question is, which one do I remember? If you are able to answer, if you are able to make the judges answer the question you, from the club level, area level, division level, definitely the same answer will be at the district level, and that's going to be you. How does it work? Which one made me feel more? A tip for international speech contest is to use emotions. Unfortunately, in our district, there has been a tendency that we've been trying to break for a very long time to put in a lot of drama in the international speech, to put in a lot of sadness. My mother died. My parents lost their job. We experienced a terrible tragedy in our life. While all good, the reason why most people do it is because, and this is the reality, a lot of contestants, a lot of speakers who compete international in Toastmasters don't really proceed or don't really observe competitions beyond their division level. So what happens? They join the club level, they see that someone who has a lot of drama, a lot of sadness wins. So they think, oh, next year I need to put in drama in my speech. They go to area level competitions, and again, the same thing happens. The one with a lot of drama, the one with a lot of crying wins, and it's reinforced. I need to put in a lot more drama, and then they go to the division level, and that's it. So a lot of contestants tend to copy what they see we're winning. However, a lot of contestants are also limited to the division level. Then most contestants don't really attend the district level or observe what is beyond. District level speeches, the winners of district level speeches, has been changing for quite a while. And drama doesn't work. Why do I say this? Because international speech is really about international appeal. In our District 75 in the Philippines, we love drama. We have a lot of telenovelas. But in the international level, drama has not won in the World Championship of Public Speaking for a very long time. So, which one made me feel more? It doesn't need to be sad. Did the speech make you angry? Did the speech make you have fun? Did the speech make you feel sad? That's also there. Did the speech make you feel scared? So if you have an emotional roller coaster in your speech, that's the biggest advantage. The next question is, which one do I remember? And the best way to answer this one is your message clear? If you can deliver a very focused message, if you can deliver just one single message in your speech, at the end of judging, the judges will say, oh, I remember this one the most. And that will be the one that I will put in as the first place winner. Even if you put in all the numbers in the judging criteria, these are the true guiding questions for judging in the international speech. Which one made me feel more? Which one do I remember? And that's the very specific reason why. That's the very specific reason why when you ask the winners for the international speech, you remember the winners, because they are the ones specifically who made you remember a lot more. You made you remember that speaker. Other speakers, you forget. Okay? I remember in 2018 when we competed in the semifinals. I know this. It's a statement with a lot of us that no, it's only District 75 who talks about a lot of drama. No, a lot of districts talk about drama. In fact, so many districts, not just District 75, talk about sadness, talk about drama. But it's the winners who don't. It's the ones who don't talk about drama who wins. But there are plenty. So it perpetuates. But I do hope that it's been changing for the last few years. That we are not really we're not really focusing on sadness and drama in our speeches. Now, for the humorous contest, what it takes to win for the humorous contest? Humorous, it's a very simple question. Which one made me laugh more? It's very simple as that. Okay, which one made me laugh more? And how do you do that? Simply focus on your jokes, focus on your speeches. People laugh without making slap. Yeah, the toughest speech is to make people laugh without becoming slapstick. Yes, and that is a concern right now for uh, humorous speeches. It's which one made me laugh more? As a judge, in a crowded environment, in a club level, you notice that there are some giggles. So the audience response works. Okay? Area contest, more laughters. Division level contest, a lot of laughters. District level competitions, you will really see the ones who make people laugh. And people, audience members, are excited. They're attending a humorous speech contest and they are excited to laugh. Okay? That's one of the best things about the humorous speech contest. The audience members are expecting something funny, and if you deliver a line that is even remotely funny, you will hear giggles. You will hear laughter that you won't normally hear outside of the humorous speech contest. So that's what I coach for humorous speech contestants. It's a lot different from online competitions because this time only one person is laughing, and that one person is a judge, one at a time. I'm talking to all of you. I think there are 62 participants here, and I'm not getting any reaction from a lot of you. I'm not getting a lot of messages. I'm not getting a lot of questions, and I'm not complaining. But my point there is, it's going to be exactly the same way for competitions. You will not get feedback from the audience. Can we say stand-up comedians would make great humorous speech speakers than most speakers? Very good question, Joseph. Actually, yes, stand-up comedians would make very good humorous speech speakers because they know the techniques of making people laugh. In fact, one of the techniques that they use, I will teach later on. Stand-up comedy is different in such a way that they talk for 5 minutes and the topics don't need to be coherent. They can talk about any topic. They jump from one topic to another as long as the audience is laughing. You've heard one of the famous stand-up comedians right now, popular stand-up comedians in the Philippines, is actually from America, Jokoy. So some of you have heard, watched YouTube videos of Jokoy, and he's really good. He's really funny, okay? But the topics jump from one topic to another. For the humorous speech, it just needs to be coherent. And stand-up comedians can actually make a coherent speech. So they're really good. I know some stand-up comedians who can tell a 5-minute story, and they make people will still be laughing at it. So the real question is, which one made me laugh more? In fact, I've become chief judge for a lot of humorous speech contests, and I've also been an audience for a lot of humorous speech contests. And a lot of judges judge this way. Okay, I found something really funny with the video right now. Thank you for making me laugh, Dr. Elton. I've been really amazed on how stiff you are in your video, only to find out that it is actually a virtual background. Thank you for that one. So, for humorous speech contest, judging works this way. I've seen a lot of judges have a tally sheet. They don't really look at the judging criteria unless the contestants aren't that funny. What they do is they count the number of laughs. Okay, this contestant had 10 laughs. Okay, this contestant only had 3. So this contestant should deserve to win more. But let me check if they have a coherent speech. What do I mean by this? Most of the time, the speeches are a coherent speech. Most of the time, the physicality is almost equal. So which one made me laugh more would win. All right? At the higher levels, I even see some judges who do this. One small laughter, one big laughter, one small laughter, one big laughter. So they have belly laughs. They judge the amount of laughter of the audience. And the more belly laughs, the one with the more belly laughs wins. So when you do that, Yeah, Darren LaCroix was a stand-up comedian. Thank you, Toastmaster Eliza. Yes, and his international speech is one of the funniest speeches. So which one made me laugh more? It's basically counting the number of laughters. It's easy to do in physical competitions, but quite tougher in online competitions. This time, the only audience response that the judges can judge is their own judges' response. So if there's a joke there and I giggle, I count that as one laugh. If I really laugh out loud, and there were in the previous humorous contest, there were really funny jokes. Toastmaster Nemleda's speech one was one of my favorites. I'm only 64. I laugh each time she says that. I'm expecting it, but I'm laughing at it. So that's why she deserves really well to become the second place for the previous competition. So which one made me laugh more is the only question that matters. If you do that, okay, so let's go back to my previous slide. If you're able to do this for the international speech competition, which one made me feel more, or which one do I remember? And then you do this for the humorous competition, which one made me laugh more? And you're able to do it at the club level, the area level, division level, and the district level, and then you will win the competition that you are joining. So that is actually the answer to the question, how to win the international and the humorous speech contest. So the judging criteria matters. It only separates you by inches, by points, 1.2 points. But it's really the answer to those questions who will decide who will win the competition. Now, of course, very good question, Toastmaster Julius. Most, if not all, of the World Championship of International World Championship of Public Speaking in the past years have had humor in their speeches. Do you see this element of humor as a necessary ingredient to win the district championship for international speech contest? A very good question, and I would take you back to the slide I showed earlier. Here's the thing. The reason why most past winners of the WCPS are funny or humorous speeches is because of the answer of the first question and second question. If a speech is funny, it means it made you feel joy much more than the other contestants, and you will be remembered more by the other contestants. But humor is not the only element to make you answer those two questions. If you remember 2018 World Championship of Public Speaking, could someone remind me the girl, the boxer?
Ramona Smith.
I was there. I was in Chicago and I watched
Ramona Smith.
Huh?
Ramona Smith.
Ramona. Thank you, Ramona. Ramona's speech was the least funniest of all the contestants, but he made the audience feel a lot more. Okay, there were some laughs, of course, it was necessary, but there was actually a response to the audience. When Ramona asks a question, when Ramona took a stance, the audience reacted, wow, that was very authentic. And then a part when she sang, she didn't even expect the audience to respond. Okay? She didn't expect the audience to respond, but because of that question, the audience really felt the song and the audience responded. She was actually thrown a little. She was thrown back a little because the audience sang. She was singing, yeah, 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 and the audience reacted. And she almost stepped into the reaction. So that was a guarantee. That was almost a guarantee that she would win. Judges, of course, had different ranking. I thought Ramona's speech came in second or third. And Toastmaster Eliza put in here, Sherry Sue's speech was funnier. I actually thought Sherry Sue's speech, personally, was the better speech. My winner was actually different. My winner didn't actually place. Okay, so that is my personal opinion. And that would actually go into my final slide on judging. Final slide on judging is this. Be so good that the only question in the mind of the audience is who came in second place. Sometimes there will be doubt. Sometimes the competition would be so close. How many points will contestants get a point from a judge regardless? Okay. Okay. So it's going to be statistics. So be so good that the only question in the minds of the audience is who came in second place. Why is this important? Remember, it's going to be really close. The higher the level in the competition, the closer the competition will be. But if all of you are equally good, then the winner, it will be determined by three things. Okay, this was taught to me by past international president Pawi after the 2018 contest. We met at the airport, and he told me there are really three things that decide who the winner is. First is you are the contestant. How much have you prepared? The second is who are your competitors? If, for example, the winner for this year didn't compete, then of course you will move up. Who are your competitors? And number three is who are the judges? The reason why we spread the number of judges and we increase the number of judges is so that statistics would put in. In the past, in our district, District 75, judges started to prefer dramatic speeches. And that's also the reason why a lot of, in the past years, it's the dramatic speeches that won. And I am guilty of playing this system. What do I mean? In 2018, I delivered a dramatic speech for the very purpose of playing the game. I knew that the judges preferred dramatic speeches, so I did put in a dramatic speech, a dramatic theme on my speech. I'm giving a lot of good news right now for the contestants. That has changed. That has changed a lot. You don't really need to have too much drama. Drama would still work, but drama is not the most efficient tool that you can use for speaking. So I'd like to emphasize the point of Toastmaster JJ here. That's where statistics come in. How many points will a contestant get regardless? So it's either 3 points, 2 points, or 1 point. So there may actually be a winner in the International Humorous Speech who never placed first on any of the judging ballots. He or she could be just second in all 15 judges and still become the winner for that competition. Okay? Okay. Sorry. And the third is the judges. So sometimes judges will be inclined to a certain style of speaking. Right now, we are hoping, and the organizers, we hope that you do diversify the sources of your judges so that we will have a pretty good statistical average on who the winners are. Okay? Now, here are some tips that I could give. It's very limited, and yeah, I'm actually I'm surprised that I'm on time. I worried that I'd be going over time. Here are some tips that I would give for Humorous, for International and Humorous. There will be further talks, division levels, and those tips would also apply. Here are my tips for international speech, that the key elements that cannot be missing from your speech for international and humorous. Okay? First, topic. The best topic for the international speech is this, and I've given this to Division A and for other divisions. What do your friends come to you for advice? If you want to talk about something that you are already passionate with, something that you're already knowledgeable with, and something that you are really want to talk about. So what do your friend, so it's passion, it's the topic that you're passionate with. The second is the topic that you're experienced with. And the third is the topic that has value to your audience. And it can basically answer this question. What do your friends come to you for advice? And your friends come to you for advice for very specific reasons. You're passionate about that topic. You have very good experience about that topic, and it has value for them. So if you can select a topic that can answer these three questions, this question, what do your friends come to you for advice? You have already selected a very good topic that has a chance of winning the International Speech Contest. Okay? And the other is this. The Toastmasters International Speech Contest is a limited speaking engagement. You only have 5 to 7 minutes to speak. A lot of questions that I get in forums is this: if Toastmasters World Champion of Public Speaking is so good, why doesn't it hit millions of views in YouTube, for example, as compared to really good TED Talks? And the simplest reason is that you only have 5 to 7 minutes to drive a point. And with only 5 to 7 minutes to drive a point, the best way to drive a point is to tell a story. Tell your story in a storytelling manner. While you're getting good at it, I only suggest one story at a time. Sometimes you could get 2 or 3 stories and separate it into acts. But once you're starting, one story is as effective as 3 stories once you know how to do it properly. And this is the method that I would suggest. There are other methods, but as training wheels, it has to at least follow this method. The hero's journey simplified. The hero's journey is actually a 12-step journey. That's very complicated, and that's used for movies. But even if it's just a 5 to 7 minute speech, you can follow the simplified format of the hero's journey. And how does it work? When you create your story, start with the setting, start with the environment, and what is real for you before you experience something. So I was this before, that's the setting. Next, who are the characters for your speech? This is a limited time story. So basically, you could have 1, 2, or 3 characters, 3 characters at most. Having more than 3 characters would make it complicated for your audience. But I've seen contestants who are so shy about tooting their own horn that the lead character is not themselves. But since this is only a 5 to 7 minute speech, the hero of your story has to be you. You cannot select someone else to be a hero of the story in a 5 to 7 minute speech. Okay, so you have to be the hero of your speech, hero of your story. Then define the obstacle or the hardship or the struggle that you have encountered. So what's the struggle? You lost money. You find it hard to decide. Okay, so what's the struggle? Then the next is the reward. After undergoing the struggle, how were you able to discover the reward? How are you able to discover the solution? Now, there are, of course, several different ways to use this. But again, 5 to 7 minutes, my suggestion is someone needs to give it to you. Why? It's very difficult to write in your speech. No, it actually happens in real life. While doing a lot of tasks, you discover on your own accord, you discover the solution to a very difficult problem. And in real life, it happens a lot of times. You tell that story now, I was struggling with this, but I tried trial and error, and eventually I discovered this method, and I'm showing this to you. Okay? That works in real life. It would be very difficult to do it in a 5 to 7 minute speech because in real life, people who listen to you know you personally. And when you tell them that this is my achievement, I didn't get any help, I struggled to do this, but I was able to do this, it works. But in a 5 to 7 minute speech, saying that would come off as very arrogant. My suggestion, have someone give the solution to you. Someone who has experience, a mentor, someone you respect, okay? And that is also the reason why they did a study. 60%, 70% of the World Championship of Public Speaking winners had a mentor to teach them the answer to their problem. Okay? And that mentor is often a woman. I don't know why. They try to speculate. I'm not going to speculate on this, but it's often a woman, a mother figure, a sister who gives the solution. Sometimes, of course, it's also a male, a father figure, but oftentimes it is women. Okay, question. If your hero's story is devoid of dialogues and is more littered with self-realizations, do you consider this as a disadvantage to winning the international speech? Yes. Okay, a question from the chat. I consider this a disadvantage. Uh, Again, hero's journey does happen in real life. That's a lot of stories. You've heard a lot of hero's journey stories in your life. But with a 5 to 7 minute time frame, if you only point out self-realization with self-realization on and on, it will come across as arrogant and being know-it-all. It's going to be very difficult to attract the audience to you for the audience to feel something. And the basic reason is this: not every audience member could relate with self-realization, but every audience member can relate with a mentor teaching the lesson to you. Okay, so it's going to be a disadvantage. Yes, you can still win, but it's definitely going to be a disadvantage because unless you're very careful, it could come across as being arrogant. Okay, and then eventually the return or the lesson that you will give to the audience, and that is often noted as in the end of the speech. You notice the shift from telling a story. This is what happened. This is what happened. This is what happened. And since this happened to me, I'm sharing this story to you so that you can gain. Follows a very specific format in table topics, a story, the message, and the game. But the story here needs to have a setting, characters, and obstacles. And then what is the message that you got? And then what is the game for the audience? Look at the previous winners of the WCPS and even the semifinalists. That's the format they often follow. It's not a formula. It's not a be-all, end-all. But it is a pretty good formula to test your wheels on. Okay? Now, how do you practice for the International Speech Contest? The practice needs to be deliberate. You don't simply memorize your speech and deliver it again and again to the point that you have it memorized and you deliver it and become so polished that it's really good. Okay? The deliberate practice that I would suggest is this. You really need to improve the message for the audience. And if you actually look at this, the questions focuses on the audience. Why? How do you win? Which one made me feel more? And which one do I remember more? Okay? And how do you do that? It's this. After delivering your speech, ask your audience 3 questions. What was my message? What did you like? And what was confusing? And I put in a statement here because I coach a lot of contestants who want to participate in the International Speech Contest. And the most difficult part for any contestant is to kill their darlings. Whenever I coach someone who is so willing to kill their darlings, I already see potential in that speaker. What do I mean by this? Killing your darlings. In your speech, when you wrote it down, you enjoy, you have a part of your speech that you really like, and it could have formed the basis for your entire speech. But eventually, if it only adds confusion, your mentors would tell you, remove that part. And whenever a speaker, a mentee, says, no, this is my favorite part of the speech, it almost flips the switch in my head that says, no, this is this contestant would be very difficult to teach. Because letting go, killing your darlings, sacrificing your sacred cows is the key. Because that means you are teachable. So if you're able to kill your darlings, that adds confusion to your message, then you have a lot of potential to improve your speech. So it's focus on your message. What was my message? If the answer is different, it means it's confusing. If the answer of every audience member is the same, then you got it. The message got through. What did you like? Improve on those parts. What was confusing? Anytime something is confusing, tweak it to make it clear, or at worst, look for a mentor and ask them, do I need to remove this? Oftentimes, it's your darlings that add confusion. I'm talking about this on experience. Oftentimes, your favorite part of the speech is the one that adds confusions. Please elaborate, kill your darlings. When you write your speech, you generally have an idea of what to put in. There are some stories that you really enjoy that you want to put in there. But sometimes, no, actually not sometimes, more than half the time, it's your favorite part that makes your speech confusing. You might actually have better components in your speech that has more impact, but it's your darlings, your favorite part, that has to be removed. Okay? You cannot simply remove it. You need to have a coach to tell you to remove this part. But if you're able to kill your darling, then you have really good potential. Okay? I think someone unmuted. Do you want to ask a question? Wala. Okay, so elaborate. You don't necessarily need to kill your darling, but if necessary, and you're willing to do it, you have a very good potential to improve your speech. Okay? Next, humor. Now, for humorous speeches, and in fact, for international speeches, here are some things that I would suggest for humor. There will be, of course, per division on adding humor to your speech, but these are some elements that are critical for humorous speeches. First, which ones are funny? Real life is always funny. What do I mean by real life is always funny? Situational humor. Talk about traffic. Talk about work. Talk about being 64. Okay? Real life is funny. Pain is funny. If something is painful for you, if you experience something that was painful, it's actually funny because you've heard the statement, you laugh at pressure, you laugh at pain. And when you're able to talk about something very painful and you talk about it with humor, everyone else found that painful too. But if you made it funny, then it's good. So traffic, for example, I'm sorry, it's very difficult. I had an example, I forgot it when I remember. So pain is funny. Next, embarrassment is funny. And that's really the reason why when you do something embarrassing, everyone around you laughs. Right? But you experience, that was embarrassing, I don't like it. But when you're able to talk about it, it's going to be funny. One major point though, when you want to deliver a humorous speech, remember in the international speech, who's the hero of your speech? The hero is you. For humorous speech, it's the exact opposite. You should be the butt of all the humor. You cannot attack someone else and think it's funny. So if there's something painful, it has to be something painful for you. If it's something embarrassing, you have to be the one who experienced the embarrassment, not someone else. Because when you do that, the audience will become uncomfortable. Okay? So you really you have to be the target of your humor. Jokes. Here's the funny thing about jokes. For humorous speech contests, jokes are not funny. Okay? Clarify. Jokes are not funny, not because they're not funny per se, but it's because it's likely that people heard it. In your elementary days, who among you have heard of the manika and pink na table? Okay? Everyone practically knows the joke. Okay? There are a lot of jokes going around, and everyone expects the ending of that joke. And when it's expected, it's no longer funny. Okay? So jokes, be very careful. Unless the joke is very original, jokes are often not funny. So what Toastmaster Ernie Limkaking is one of the best jokers around. I've heard him speak. I've heard him deliver jokes. We laugh all the time. We know the result of the joke, but it's really his style that is effective. Okay, but delivering it in a humorous speech contest, more often than not, your jokes will fall flat. Okay, and probably one of the most important techniques in humorous speech contests is this: start with something normal, then twist it with a surprise. Normal is traffic. Normal is overworking. But twist it with a surprise, twist it with something unexpected. And then Make them laugh. I've seen a lot of humorous speech contestants waste an opportunity. Once an audience laughs, make sure that they laugh again and again in quick succession. Once an audience member laughs, use just 2 to 3 words to make them laugh again, and another 2 to 3 words to make them laugh again. So make it something real, then twist it again, then twist it again. Best examples I've seen about this is in America's Got Talent. I was looking at this earlier. But simple card trick. He asked the judge to pick a card, and then while showing it to the audience, he swapped a deck of cards and put it in. So audience were already laughing, right? Because it's obvious that the deck of cards was changed. But what did he do next? That most speakers end with that, with one laughter. But what did the contestant do next? What he did was he really still looked for the card and showed it as so the audience would laugh again. And then with the next few seconds, he said, I'll teach you the technique. I didn't change the deck of cards, but everything in this set of cards is blank. Okay? So he had quick successions of laughter. If you try to observe the humorous speech winners, they don't have continuous laughter. They don't have one laughter at a time. They have clusters of laughter. So they laugh once, they laugh again and again and again. Then there's a lull about a minute, and then audience members laugh and they laugh again and again and again. One of my favorite speeches on that, I remember P.T. Diling, after her punchline, the audience was laughing hard. She paused and asked them, why are you laughing? The audience exploded. That's a very good example. So there was a joke, okay? And I would assume PDG Diling was very serious about this. There was a joke, people laughed hard. And then ask them again, why you're laughing? It took 1 second to make the audience laugh again. So ride the laughter. If you're able to do that in your speech, even just 2 or 3 times in your speech, the laughter would increase successively. And again, who wins? The one that made me laugh more. Whew. How do you practice? And this is actually quite easy. Deliberate practice. Deliver a joke and simply take note. You have a sheet with you. Deliver your speech. I would suggest when you practice, have your audience members turn on their mics, turn on their video so that you get the reactions. Which parts were funny, which parts were not. It's as simple as that. If a part is funny, what do? You ride on the laughter. You don't end there now, okay, I keep this one, I remove this one. If a part is funny, ask yourself, how do I make it funnier? If a part is not funny, kill your darling. If a part of your speech was not funny, simply remove it. It gives you space for the funnier parts. I've seen people who really try to force, I like this part, I want to make it funny, but then when they deliver it, it's not funny. Okay? Kill your darling, remove it. But the parts that are funny, ask yourself, how do I make it funnier? I know I have a very specific example, Toastmaster Edgy. I saw her at the area level. And a simple part of his speech was this. He was talking about a date. So they were dancing, and they were actually dancing cha-cha, okay? So during the area contest, people really laughed because she was talking while doing the cha-cha. And then she moved part, make a dialogue, and she did the cha-cha in reverse. People were already laughing. And that was really good, okay? Now, since people enjoyed it, her question was, how do I make it funnier? And when I saw her at the division contest, she made it definitely funnier. How did she do it? Simple. When the guy was doing cha-cha, when it went to her part, she was doing something completely different. And we laughed when she did the cha-cha. We exploded when she did something completely unexpected. Okay? So find what's funny in your speech and make it fun. Ask yourself, how do I make it funnier? Find the parts that were not funny and then remove it from your speech. Okay? So There are, of course, many more tips that can improve your humor. You can always put in humor in the international speech. Same way, if you find a part of your speech in the international speech funny, ask yourself, how do I make it funnier? If you put in a joke in your international speech and wasn't funny, remove it from your international speech. And that concludes my talk for this afternoon. Do you have any questions and any clarification that I could put in? Okay, another question here. In international speech, how do you balance the power of less is more versus not losing salient points of your speech's message? Okay, I'll stop my sharing of my presentation. Whew. I'd like to answer Toastmaster Julius' question. Less is more. Less is definitely more. That I always subscribe to that point. Wait. Oops. Less is definitely more. Number of words. A lot of speech writers for the international speech contest tend to have too many words. There are coaches who are really good at removing number of words, removing chunks of the speech. Toastmaster Gina Mabua, she's not here, is one of the best at removing chunks of a speech without changing the message. Here's the thing. For international speech, it's really difficult if you're the only one to look at your speech. How do you do this? You really need to have a mentor, have a coach. Ask the coach, which parts can I remove? Okay? And if someone can do it, someone else, there are people here in Toastmaster who are really good at writing long speeches, really good message. And others who aren't so good at writing a really good message, but really good at editing a speech. Look for that person who is really good at editing a speech, and they can do wonders in your speech. A really good example. Sorry. Yes, someone is asking for the slides. Yes, I'll make the slides available, but the slides really don't have much, but I'll provide it. So that is my workshop. Any more questions, please? I think were there private questions, Toastmaster Misha?
No, I did not have any private questions, and also on Facebook Live, also we don't have any questions. So if you please forward it now, or you can directly ask from Toastmaster Neb.
Okay, I think I can add one more thing that would be very powerful just for this year. Okay, just as long as we're doing it online. Toastmasters competition is usually you talk to a crowd, but for online, you only talk to one person at a time. It's going to be really difficult, but I would also recommend you talk to a person, just one person. Talk to a camera as if you're just talking to one person. Structure your speech as if you're talking to one person. That is the key for this one. I keep telling it previous years on creating a speech. Talk as if you're talking to one person. Don't talk as if, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters. Don't do that. You're only talking to one person. Like, hey, Darwin, DJ, how are you right now? Amisha, how can I entertain you? So talk to one person at a time. Another question here: is it necessary to get mentors from Toastmasters, or can a family member do the job? Yes, of course. Family members can do a pretty good job of helping your speech. It does help, though, if a coach is someone who's already competed at the level you want to win, because they have insights. They have a lot of insights that others might not be able to give. Getting insight from outsiders is also really good, because now you get a perspective. If someone from outside of Toastmasters tell you that, wow, the message was so clear, then definitely the message was so clear. I had a fortunate experience with that. I was in Baguio, and Toastmaster Chris gave me an opportunity to speak to an audience of non-Toastmasters. And I asked the same questions, and that was when how I was able to compress my speech. Some audience members, non-Toastmasters, were confused with parts of my speech, and I was able to clarify that or completely eliminate it from my speech. What are your thoughts? Practice to internalize and not to memorize. Okay, a really good question. I like the way you're asking questions, Toastmaster Julius. It's really guiding the audience members here. Internalize and not memorize. What are my thoughts on this? I don't like it in Toastmasters when the speech is way too polished and it no longer appears genuine. But at the same time, I'm also a subscriber of you need to be able to deliver your speech as if you're singing happy birthday. What do I mean by this? Happy birthday song. All of you can do this. While taking a selfie, you can sing happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. You can actually cook and sing happy birthday to you. You have it memorized to that point that you won't really forget any line. Then, when you reach it to that point, it actually starts to become natural. Here's the other thing. The more you memorize it, and if it's really just memorizing lines and not internalizing it, if you miss a word, that's when you freeze. But if you have it versed to the point of being a happy birthday song for you, you can actually do anything. And even if you miss a word, you're able to internalize it. So practice to internalize and not to memorize. Yes, but I also encourage you, because this is a competition, to memorize it very specifically, because you only have 5 to 7 minutes. You have very few minutes to spare and very few words to spare. And in fact, when you reduce a speech, for example, from a 900-word speech to a 600-word speech, every single word counts. So you really still need to memorize it, but internalization is much more important, because if you do forget a few things, the message will still get through.
We can take one more question. I think there is one more.
Yeah. I have a question here. Humorous is the least of the speech contests, but the most elusive as far as applying the skills in humor is concerned. I was trying to make a joke on that one. It's not the least glamorous of the speech contest. I'm just trying to make poke fun of everyone trying to compete in the humorous speech contest. I actually applaud the people who are gutsy enough to compete in the humorous speech contest. When I was still learning in Toastmasters competition, I joined the humorous speech contest. I joined all 4, but my main purpose is still the international speech contest. And my purpose of joining the other 2 contests is to develop skills. And humor was a skill I needed to develop. Some people, I'm actually quite happy in 2019 when someone said that, wow, you are naturally funny. When someone told me that, I laughed, because it took me 8 years of competing in Toastmasters, of developing my humor, to finally become naturally funny. I'm not funny at all. It's a skill that I developed, and I really applaud people who are naturally funny. There are people who are really gifted to become naturally funny. I'm not. So the skill, I was making a joke. I was taking a dig on people who want to join the humorous speech contest, a contest that I will never win. I cannot really, it's very difficult for me. It takes a lot of courage to do it. So it's not the least. I'm just taking a joke at you on that. Most challenging category. Yes, I actually believe the humorous speech contest is the most challenging category, because it takes a lot of emotional toll when you tell a joke that you thought was funny and nobody laughs. And when you're able to recover from that, then wow, that improves you, that increases your, well, in gaming terminology, that's a level up for you. Okay, so you really need to experience this. Anyone who competes in the international speech contest, I highly encourage you to join the humorous speech contest at least once in your Toastmasters career. It's going to be a very good learning experience. Any more? I think there's a question, Toastmaster Misha.
No, I think we are okay.
Okay. Okay. So, can I give just a closing message of this one? Closing line. In any competition, there can only be one champion. But if you explore this, you join a competition to learn, to develop something that is useful for you. While there will always be only one champion, all of you can become a winner. So I really encourage everyone, join the competition and don't think about the championship. Think about the lessons that you can win. And even if you just join the club level and end your experience there for this year, you will definitely have won. So thank you for this afternoon. Thank you for participating this afternoon. Thank you, Toastmaster Amisha.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Neb, and also for everyone who directed the questions to Toastmaster Neb. And I would like to ask two participants to give us your feedback on today's training session, because this will be helpful for us in organizing future training programs. Because we have a few more minutes left, I chose two Toastmasters randomly. Can we hear from Toastmaster Jamo Kirsto, your view?
Yeah, thank you, District 75 and Neb. I felt like I was there with you. I didn't have any questions because you gave me so many answers. And also you reminded me of the time when I competed in Humorous and nobody laughed. But I still won because the other guy was disqualified. So I did better later. Yeah, so my key takeaway, I had a physical sensation when you spoke about killing your darlings. So I have received already very good feedback on my speech that I will be delivering in the area next year. And yeah, I'm almost vibrating right now. I have several pages with notes, and I hope that I can listen to this again. Yeah, I'm almost trembling listening to all of your advice. So thank you so much. I love it. I need to work on my characters. Apparently I have 3 stories. So thank you so much for this amazing afternoon.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jamo. So our second Toastmaster that I picked is Toastmaster Hannibal George Machan.
Hi, Neb. Congratulations. How are you doing, sir? Yeah. It's always nice to hear from you. And first time I met you was last year when I wanted to compete in the international speech competition. And I would say that my key takeaways definitely would be your main points, which are to feel more, make sure that the judges recall. And as I transition to a new path of humorous path, it's about making who made the audience laugh more. So definitely those main points are highlighted on your on the discussion. And then if there's any area for improvement, I would say it's the for the whole event itself. On the start, I was very early, my apologies. I was trying to register and then I just suddenly went inside. And I would recommend probably engaging the audience while we're waiting, like, just talking to them and chatting with them, or asking a question, what are their exact expectation, or if they have any potential question during the session itself. So just utilize that. So anyway, basically that's my those are my feedback, and thank you and congratulations, Sir Neba Shusha. Thank you so much.
Thank you both, Toastmaster Jamo and do you have anything to share? Like, do you want to talk about something in response to the feedback? Okay, we move on. I will just move on.
We're not able to capture your last sentence.
So now we have come to the end of our program. Before we conclude, let me invite the District Director of District 75, Distinguished Toastmaster Marilyn Legaspi, to present the electronic certificate of appreciation for our facilitator this afternoon, Toastmaster Neb Perry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Alicia, and to our fellow leaders and would-be champions, soon to be would-be champions in our 4 categories of the speech contest. So we have heard the best on our midst, the 2018-2019 champion, Embarrassment. But I believe before I go further, he deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much, Distinguished Toastmaster Neb, for sharing your valuable tips and your insights on how to win both in the Humorous, which is very, very challenging, I believe, and also for the, what we call it, the international speech category. So this afternoon, it is our pleasure for District 75 to have you in our midst. And to give you, we shall present to you one of our tokens of appreciation. It is a certificate of appreciation presented to Neberes, ACG, ALB, in recognition for his valuable support to Toastmasters International District 75, communication and leadership programs as a resource speaker for what it takes to win international and humorous speech contests, given this 28th day of November, 2020. Signed, Richard Guajo, Distinguished Toastmaster, District 75 Program Quality Director, and yours truly. And from the bottom of our hearts, from the technical team, from the tech team to the facilitators, and to Amisha and to the rest of the team, TJ, Marilu, I'm glad you're here. To PID Eliza, thank you so much for gracing this event and for all the questions. And I believe the questions were responded. And I truly believe we will have the best, I would say, contestants, I suppose, for our Discon 2021. And I believe for all of this one, all the organizers for this event, good afternoon, and back to you, Toastmaster Amisha.
Thank you very much, Director. Toastmaster. Now that we have come to the end of our program, before we conclude, let me our facilitator, Toastmaster Neb Perez, for giving us your precious time and also sharing with us your who joined today, and also to the training team and also the technical team of District 75 for their invaluable support to make this event a success. And a big thank you to all of you, all the participants who join us today. With another training program like this, let us meet again soon. Have a great weekend and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's have a group photo, everyone. Turn on your videos.
All right, I'm going to take the picture. I have 2 pages with me. All right, 1, 2, 3, smile. Right, let me see that first. And another page. Saglit lang, there you go. All right, everyone, 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great weekend. DJ,
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy
God bless.
long
Bye-bye.
weekend.